Hello everybody, this is Evan for Grips.com coming at you with another video. Today I'm going to be doing something a little different than usual. I would like to show you guys what a real session looks like for me. So I'm just going to be playing anywhere from 7 to 9 tables of 2-4 no limit and just talking through each hand as it comes up. I'm going to try my best to keep the screen full at all times with lots of action. So I've got some games queued up on the side just in case these 9 break, like in case of the bottom left table. That game's definitely over, so we'll just go ahead and bring in a new one. Now I will apologize at the start of this video just so you guys know what you're getting into. I won't be able to do as much free flow of thought as I have been able to do in other videos, as playing these stakes in this many tables requires quite a bit more mental focus than, you know, 2 or 3 tabling Zoom or playing the micro stakes does for me. So I'm going to be more focused on each hand as it plays out rather than simply going on about whatever thoughts are in my head at the time. So just starting the session, there's no dynamics with any opponents, and I'm just going to play whatever style I feel in the mood for this early Friday morning, and then make adjustments as we see the opponents let us know how they're playing today. Because obviously each of these opponents has a style that they follow, which you can figure out by looking at the Hold'em Manager statistics. But everyone, has emotions. They're real people, they're not robots. So day to day, they could be playing different. Ace King on table 2. Pretty easy raise blind versus blind. If I Love Sarah 3 bets, probably just going to 4 bet and call it off. Blind versus blind 3 bet is really high. So she's got a lot of junk in there. Okay, let me get that one through. Okay, once again on table 2, we have a weak player open limping. So with the button and with a reasonably strong hand, we're going to go ahead and isolate. And getting 3.5 to 1 on table 1. Going to defend with the ace 9. And just going to put a value bet out on the river on table 1. Obviously, if he hit a queen, I'm beat, but I'm not checking and folding, so might as well just bet myself and get called by a wider range than he might value bet with. There are a lot of hands that could call this bet that may check back the river if I check to him. Got unlucky on the river there. Table 4. I don't know if I'm going to be folding at any point in this hand. And check's good. River. Table 7. Pretty good flop. Just going to continuation bet for value with my top pair top kicker. Table 1, ace queen in the cutoff. Obviously a pretty easy open. It's pretty clear cut. These aces I could go either way. Bingo king seems to be pretty squeeze happy. And I love Sarah's 4-bet range is not that wide, so I'm actually just going to slow play. And just call. Table 2, one of the players is isolating the fish, so I'm going to try to re-isolate him with a 3-bet, and we get that through. Aces. Raising the turn is an option with all the draws that are there, but I'm just going to keep calling and let him value cut himself, all that stuff. And when he checks the river like that, I think it's pretty unlikely that he has the flush. So I'm going to value bet and hope to get called by, maybe a queen. Maybe he's got pocket kings. And he folds. Okay. And this Quezon City game is much better than that Harbin. So we're going to bring that over. More chances at excitement when we got more bad players. Ooh, I flopped a set. Pretty draw heavy board. I'm going to fast play. Table 1, of course, where we're talking about here. And he makes a committing re-raise, so let's just put the money in. And we have him in pretty bad shape. All right. Got him. On a less draw heavy board, slow playing is a more attractive option because if we are to raise the flop, we represent fewer hands. So there's less stuff that, a hand like top pair could be ahead of. So for that reason, there are also just like much fewer hands that he can give us action with. Table 8, gonna fire one c-bet on this Jack-Jack 6 board, get it through. And if you find it tough to keep up with all the action, don't feel bad. You're definitely not alone on that front. But just pause the video after the big hands. Go ahead and rewind. Nothing wrong with going through this video multiple times to try to get as much out of it as possible. Right. Again, pretty good flop on table 2. Fire c-bet. Not the best turn. Now, if he doesn't have an ace or a jack, we can win. So if he was floating, we can take him off the hand. I don't know how much of his range consists of floats on that particular board, though. So I'm going to check, and if he bets, I'm probably just going to fold, even though it's a small bet. Just going to take the safe route on this one. Shame. River could be the 10 of hearts. What are the odds? Anyone know? I'm going with about 49 to 1. Nah, 45 to 1. Ooh. Looks like I should have thought about playing that 4-5 suited a little longer on table 1. Fire a c-bet on table 3. Have a couple of overcards, which is good for some equity. at Marklar. Mr. Check Raise. Very high check raise frequency, and there aren't any draws on this board. So if he's just check raising with two overcards, which is going to make up a good amount of his range, it's going to be hard for him to continue when I 3-bet the flop there. If he was check raising a set or a good top pair or a slow played overpair, obviously he's not folding. But I think more of his range just consists of like kind of bullshit there. Gut shots, overcards, stuff that's definitely not going to be continuing when he gets 3-bet there. And the stat I used to determine that was this kind of mauve violet color. He raises flops 18% of the time, which is pretty high. I consider anything over 14 to be up there, and 18 definitely fits the bill. Jack 9 suited, table 2, good enough hand. And looks like this table could break, so we'll bring a full table back over. And table 7's not looking too promising on that front either. Oh, perfect timing. New game got started. Here with the ace-king on table 1, I'm just going to check and call. I don't really feel like folding this hand, but I also don't think he's folding to a continuation bet. But by checking, I allow him to bet with his entire range, not just the hands that are beating me, but also hands that I'm ahead of. And, well, if he bets twice, he's got it. So, nice hand, better man. He has pretty tight stats, so I don't assume that he's going to be the bluffing type. Jack 10 suited, blind versus blind. Obviously got to see a flop. And on that flop, where the only bit of equity we flopped is the backdoor straight draw. We don't even have a backdoor flush draw. Overcards, non-existent, so just let that one go. And we got a game with some more potential, more likelihood of staying together that I will bring in. Table 6. The mark at the table has raised, so this is a spot where I definitely want to be playing my pocket fours. Table 4, I don't really want to fold the Jack 9 suited, but the guy doesn't even have any money behind anyway. I don't really stand to win that much on in a lot of situations, and also he has so little behind that it's pretty easy for him to just blast it all in by the turn. So I don't really have the ability to try to outplay him. Fours on table 6, I think we're just going to try to take him to showdown. Hope that we can beat an ace high. And well, when we river a boat, we can be pretty confident we can beat an ace high. So Make a little value bet. Small enough that he can call with a nice wide range of hands. Not only the top portion of his range. He turned a 10. So we got unlucky and then lucky. But we got all the money in a hand. Table 5, just gonna under-rep my hand here. Smooth call from the small blind. Sometimes I'm going to be 3-betting this hand. This time I decided I'm just going to call with it. And when he checks back, I can be pretty confident that my hand is good. So I'll probably just bet 2 streets here. Okay. Opening a lot. Guess I'll get a little hood here. The King Jack is definitely ahead of his range. I don't know if I want to run all 5 cards though, so 3-betting would be bad if I get 4-bet. This was the situation I was hoping to avoid, and which is kind of tough with a squeeze happy player in the big blind. A lot of times I'm going to call here and just get squeezed off my hand. But at least we'll get to see what he was doing it with. Because he's getting pretty good odds here to make a call. 2 tens. It doesn't look like I was winning this one. Gonna re-raise on table 7. This player is opening a lot of hands from the small blind. And has a he has a reasonably high fold to 3-bet from that position as well. Also, we had a blocker, had a hand that plays all right, can flop okay. And our table's breaking again. So, just bring in the backups again. Was there a game here? Nope. Nothing doing. Alright. Definitely going to see a flop with the suited Tate. Queen 9's probably a good enough hand to see a flop against Marklar. Obviously not going to be looking to play massive pots with either of these hands. But check raise on table 1. Just to take control of the hand. And table 7. Top 2 is obviously going to be good for a value bet. Marklar overbet in the pot. Cool, bro. You got it. Table 1, 2 queens. Pretty clear re-raise facing a button open. Table 9, ace 9 suited, must open. Table 2 could go really any way with this hand. I'm not really looking to play out of position with Marklar though, so fold. On table 1, I think if I bet the flop, it's hard for him to call me with a lot of worse hands. So I was checking and then evaluating based on what he did. Looks like we're going to play pot control on this one. Although by checking again, I make it pretty clear that I don't have a king. So here we'll just throw out a small bet. It's unlikely, but maybe he'll call with pocket tens. Maybe he'll call with the jack. I was just betting because at that point, you know, I'm pretty confident I have the best hand, so I have to put out something there for value. And yes, way. Doing it again, eh, bro? Okay, I'm just going to call on table 7 and allow him to keep betting. I don't want to reveal just how strong my hand is just yet. When he checks again, I can feel pretty good about my hand. Um, it's not certain that he's not holding a flush, because he might go for the double check raise, but I think it's less likely than if he had continued betting. So hopefully he'll just check and call here. Check and fold works too. That lets me know that if we had re-raised the flop, he was most likely folding, so it's not like we missed out on any value by not going for that. Shit. One game breaks, new game comes in. Oh, my boy Red Killer, what's going on? Three button button. Well, facing a 3-bet, it was going to be an interesting decision, but facing a cold 4-bet, I think ace queen's going to find its way to the muck up there on table 1. Let's see some cards. Ace king. I mean, what are you going to do? You got to get the money in, right? Maybe a bit of an overplay. I don't know. It's tough to say. King high flop on table 7, couple backdoor draws, gonna bet. Gut shot on table 4, also gonna bet. It's not the best board for him to check raise. So, and if he's check calling, I'm totally fine with that. Check folding, I'm obviously fine with too. Looks like table 7, he's gonna be getting us. Yeah. All right. I feel like I have to call on table 6. Chop it up. Once I've like checked down all 3 streets, he's going to be betting with just about any hand he called from the small blind with. Obviously lose to an ace, but I'm getting a really good price, and his range consists of more than just ace-x hands. Too small of a sample to really know how many hands he's calling from the small blind, but based on the fact that he's playing 38-29, I think we can assume the range is reasonably wide there. You don't get loose stats by not making loose defends. And fire a c-bet on this ace-high flop. If better man called us with a pocket pair pre-flop, we're going to get it through. And ace-high flop, I want to bet at least once anyway, so. Fire it out, shut it down. I don't really see the queen high having a lot of showdown value, so not really much point trying to make my way to showdown. And this spot on table 1 is pretty interesting because I know a lot of people make a big mistake here. Yeah, the guy is squeezing, and he may even have a high squeeze percentage. Yeah, 12% from the big blind. But he's squeezing an under the gun raiser, who could be strong, and a small blind caller who obviously doesn't have nothing. And just given that if we want to continue with this hand, we really have to risk the whole stack, it's just not worth it. And calling out of position and playing a 3-bet pot out of position with a hand like 2-9s is just pretty terrible. So it's fine to just fold there. As you get to like 10s, jacks, if you've slow played queens, these spots become very difficult, especially if the squeezer isn't all that wide, meaning they don't squeeze a lot. So yeah, you got to use your judgment on that one. Okay, table 3, I don't want to get raised off my hand, and we know that Marklar really likes to raise, so we'll just check and call, and then play it by ear. Decent turn. Obviously going to continuation bet on table 5, ace high board, and a flush draw. A lot of close spots. I guess I'm going to let Marklar have this one. Really weird spot developing here on table 8. So I'll just check and see what happens. Like, the guy who check called the flop as the pre-flop raiser obviously had a piece, um, but I wouldn't imagine, like, I don't know which hands he's slow playing in this situation. Um, I think with the board being as draw heavy as it is, I don't think he would just check and call with 2 pair. And I think also on the turn and gamble ampersand definitely has to keep betting if he has 2 pairs. So with the 8 on the river, my hand should be good. Getting a really good price to peel with the ace deuce suited on table 6, and we're deep enough with the squeezer, and also both of these guys are weak players, so I don't mind going a little bit wide. My calling range there. A lot of factors we're going my way on that one. Okay. Got a really nice seat on another table, so I'll swap that in for the table of nits. It's really weird that no one's taking a stab at this pot. It's hard to gauge eco here because he's such a passive player. But I just can't help myself. Check 2 twice, really nasty looking board. I guess you could have 2 9s, 2 10s. Could also have an ace high type hand. I really don't know. It's tough to gauge against passive players like this. What I do know is that my ace 2 high does not have showdown value. So I'm going to fire off one more and hope I can get him off whatever he's holding. No, can't get by those fish. Can't get by him. Nice trap. One problem with that hand is that I'm not representing a lot of strong hands there. Most of my strong hands would bet the flop, not check the flop and then bet the turn. But I don't think this player is really thinking about what I'm representing. He's just thinking about his cards. And you have to be careful with these guys who have like really low aggression factors, 0.63. A lot of them will just check everything. So whether they have a good hand or a bad hand, they're just going to be checking. So generally the appropriate strategy for that would be to not try to bluff them and just really value bet the shit out of them. Make a lot of money by making thin value bets and not lose any money by trying to bluff them out. And even though I lost $175 to get that point across, I'm sure that collectively you guys will save more than 175 from my mistakes. So if we spread the value across the entire team, it's worth it. And we big benefit. And I have a really good game that I'm going to bring in for you guys. I think table 2 was the least exciting, and it looks like we haven't won a hand there. So I'll bring in table Choluteca, where our buddy Lurks is playing 96% of hands. That's a good spot. We do have the worst seat on the table relative to him, but it's not the end of the world. Wow. I have another guy on one of those reserve tables who is playing 100% of his hands. Also, bring that over if anything exciting happens. And I think on that ace deuce hand that we had on table 6, had there been like no flush draws or anything, then I wouldn't have even bothered betting the river because there are no hands that he could have that are folding to a river bet when there are no draws. Um, and I think the board was a little too nasty for him to be doing the whole check call with ace king thing. So, I mean, in retrospect, I just probably should have overcome the temptation to start bluffing despite repping nothing and just check the turn, check the river, and lost a small pot. Like a really small pot. But even the pros makes mistakes, guys. So don't feel bad if you find yourself making the occasional mistake. It's normal as long as you learn from it, and the next time it comes up, you try to play better and not make that same mistake. Then you're developing as a poker player. And that's what it's all about, just developing, getting better every day, putting in the effort to get better by either playing, studying, reading books, whatever, talking hands, just doing things that are going to make you better. Okay, he checks back. We have the best hand. This guy is a blaster. Okay. If I make top pair on table 7, I'm never folding. And I'm just going to hope that this guy on table 4 has like ace jack or some other hand he decided to pot control on the flop. Damn, short stack pros. And that's one of the reasons I didn't 3-bet king queen. Even though with this guy being such an aggressive player, I might have the best hand with the king queen. I just didn't really want to run it all in pre-flop for 45 big blinds or so. Another flip. And I guess if I'd 3-bet there, I would have won because I don't think Gildor would have called 4-bet facing that. And I would have had to call off. But my plan of never folding if I did make top pair was also going to be a winning play. Okay. Let's bring in Mr. 100 VPIP. Get this one out of here. Ooh, not. Um, hmm. get rid of one. What do you guys think the worst game is? Well, it can't be number 2 because Lurks is there. So far playing every hand this session. It can't be table 8 because we have 2 fish there. Could be table 9. Can't be table 4. Can't be table 1. Can't be table 5. Can't be table 6. Yeah, it looks like it's table 9. So we'll go ahead and sub it out on the next big blind. Small pair, bro. Smaller ace. Got him. They're on table 4. If I had a hand that had less showdown value, I probably would have bet at some point. But given that ace-8 had a reasonable chance of being the best hand at showdown against this guy's limp calling and then just check, 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 check range, I think it was fine. He's also like a reasonably connected board, so he can have a lot of like pair plus gutters, just straight better ace-high gutters that just aren't folding to money to any betting, so I don't really see any need to put more money in that pot. I think the one group of hands I could get him off is a small pocket pair. But with these fishes, you don't even know. Like a lot of them will at least call once. Some of them will call twice. And until you know how many barrels it takes to get them to fold the hands in their range that you are trying to get them to fold, you probably shouldn't be firing away. Oh, Lyrics, you already lost all your money? Off. Hopefully he's got a reload. Yeah, looks pretty good for us here. AA. Bet. QT. Yeah, call, bro. You flopped a flush? Nice hand. Can't fold top pair with nut flush free draw against a bad player. I ended up being in just about the worst situation I could possibly be in there. Oh, Rick Killer, this is gross. He doesn't raise flops too much. I don't think he's raising with King Queen. So if he has Queen Jack of Diamonds or 10 Jack of Diamonds, I'm winning. And otherwise, I'm in pretty bad shape. I have the Ace of Diamonds, so that eliminates a lot of the flush draws he can have. Gross. Fold. Just not trying to play for stacks in that spot. It's unfortunate. I just think against the hands he's doing that with, my equity is either next to nothing or I'm a small favorite. And I mean, I figure he's just going to continue betting on all turns, so I just have to get it in against all the hands on the turn. And against the overall range, I just don't think I'm in good enough shape to call off. Had I not had the Ace of Diamonds, that changes things, because that's a lot more flush draw hands he could be semi-bluffing with. But I had it. Guy's opening for 5 times the big blind. Table 2 looks pretty juicy. Alright, getting it all in with aces. Okay, and on that note, I think I'm going to end the video. Made a little bit of money this session. Got into some cool spots. I think that was fun. Alright, I'll let you guys watch the Lurk's hand just before I quit. But let me know if you guys like this kind of video. I think it's cool for you to actually see, how it is for me to play like a real session and what's going on when I'm really trying my best to not fuck up. Because I'm happy to do it. If I start getting comments from all the other regs saying they've been watching me and solving my game, I might have to slow down on the high stakes videos. But I think it's a nice treat, so I hope you guys appreciate me doing that. As always, leave your comments on the video. Send any requests to me via email, evan@grips.com. And good news is I'll continue recording so that in case anything crazy happens during the session, I can go ahead and make a part 2 for you guys. So, on that note, I gotta go. This has been Evan for Grips.com. Now it's your turn. Go out there, get stacking. Ooh, I bet you guys want to know what's gonna happen with these aces. Too bad.